Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It has been a long time. This is going to be a short and sweet kind of update for you all. Okay, when I say it's been a long time, look, it's been a year and I'm sorry, okay? A lot's been processing, a lot's been going on, and I've been in this process of like breaking down my thoughts about my content and how I show up and what I share, and I think that it's really important for me to do that before I jump back on and share content again, and I have done that and now I know what it is that I want to do. So over the previous year, since I posted my ADHD in women video, I knew that there was a missing piece to my puzzle of ADHD that I needed to work out. I knew I wanted to create content in and around helping people with ADHD, but I also wanted to keep sharing my passion. So I love neurodiversity purely because it is a part of who I am, and understanding that part of me also allows space for me to dive deep into my favorite things and my special subjects because they are life-giving. And the brand that I want to develop here online is that I want to be sharing my neurodiversity, but also sharing my passion. And my passion comes in the form of creativity and filmmaking and YouTube videos and creating content online, but also creating art and designing beautiful spaces. And right now it might not look like a beautiful space, but we're in the process of decluttering and releasing heaps more. I've literally spent the last 5 years of my life decluttering and working out what the hell is going on with my brain. But in the process, we were able to save, and we are now currently in the process of building our house. We're roughly about 12 weeks out from it being completed. So what I'm really excited about is that in 2023, I hope to do room makeovers and share my creative projects, but also give you guys insights into neurodiversity and help you to understand your neurodiversity from a standpoint of what systems can I implement, what strategy can I implement to help my neurodiverse brain live a life that is joyful and happy and uplifting. And I want this space to be a positive space. I want this space to be a great place for all of you to come and be, and to embrace that part of your brain, and also to live in I want your homes to feel like a space that honors your brain, and that honors your I'm not here for being overloaded and stressed out anymore, and that's what life has been up until this point, and I didn't understand why. So just a little bit of an update in particular as to kind of why I'm back now. I had a huge process of unmasking. Back in 2019, I discovered about my neurodiversity from the standpoint of ADHD. At that time, I was told by my psychologist that it might be worth me looking into autism because of showing a lot of signs of being neurodiverse, and in the autism spectrum. Now, my eldest child, I don't think had just yet been diagnosed with autism, but he was diagnosed with autism, I believe, 2020, late 2020. And since then we've been homeschooling him, homeschooling his brother. This year we're starting to homeschool our youngest as well. And it's all the family is all neurodiverse, and finding systems that work for us and finding a way to live our life that is truly joyful and good for our nervous systems is super important to me. And I truly believe that showing up here and showing our journey in the sense of I don't intend to share heaps about the kids other than their room makeovers and them helping me do their room makeovers, because it's about the process as well. Hugely, I want them to be a part of that, but I don't necessarily want to have they don't need to have their whole everything on here, but I do want to share their joy, and but it's more about my process and my journey. Same as my husband. My husband discovered as well that he's neurodiverse, and he's waiting for an autism diagnosis, but he was diagnosed with ADHD. So it's all here. Like, it's a neurodiverse family unit here. And I want to kind of share the journey with you all in and around that. So just in January, the first week of January, I was actually diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. And it didn't come as much of a surprise, but I had already previously in the last couple of years been in the process of developing techniques to help me from that perspective. But it got to a point why I decided on that diagnosis, because I could have not chosen to do that. And I had been sitting on, like, should I get that diagnosis for a long time. But about 8 months ago, I hit a wall where I was severely burnt out and was having meltdowns and getting really sick. And it kind of came about just after having COVID. It like my sensory overwhelm, my fatigue, my burnout was just out of control, and I needed to do something about it. So that's why I decided it was time for a diagnosis. Here in Australia, there is a lot of support in the sense of, like, once you have that diagnosis, it is expensive to get the diagnosis, but once you have the diagnosis, there is a lot of support that can start to happen in and around our family unit. And being that we are all neurodiverse and struggle with executive function, we need extra support to help us kind of navigate life, and so that we're not always burning out, but also that we have quality of life. And that to me is really, really important, that my family have that. But in that process, I've been deeply, like, diving down the rabbit hole, like, well, what systems are going to work for neurodiverse people? And if you can't get a diagnosis, like, how do you navigate your sensory stuff? How do you navigate your home and not being overwhelmed? Because I think the big thing for me is that being neurodiverse means that you get to have, like, a space that makes you feel good at home, and that you can unmask at home, and that you can feel like that you get to recover when you're in your home space. So the big thing for me is that in 2023, I want to be sharing with you all more things in and around systems that help neurodiversity, systems that help, because it's not about a better like, you know, it's not a better workbook, it's not a better, like, mindset, it's not like, yes, okay, there's times where you can work on your mindset, but I'm just saying is that for the most of it, being neurodiverse means that we need simple systems that help us and that work well for us, so that we don't get overwhelmed, so that it's really easy to get stuff done, and especially things if you deal with time blindness and, you know, all that, like, we don't need to be stressing ourselves out so much, and if we can find a better way to do it. So that's what I want to provide here. So I want to show you guys systems. I want to do makeovers, because the other thing is that I think a lot of the time, being neurodivergent, we have a lot of stuff. And because we have a lot of stuff, we can get overwhelmed. And what I want to do for you guys on here is, like, show you ways to share your beautiful stuff, but not have so much stuff. Like, the thing is that when you have things that you're passionate about and you love, I think it's so important that we start to embrace the passions that we have and display those things. Like, for instance, if you love Squishmallows, or if you love Pops, or if you love Lego, or, like, whatever it is that you're super passionate, maybe it's crystals, maybe it's plants, like, could be any of the things, right? We want to display the things that we love, and those things should be prized. They should be prized, and we should have them in our lives so that we feel good about it. So for me, it's like, I kind of feel as though dopamine minimalist is the way forward. Like, when I say that, is like being minimalist in, like, not having as much stuff to keep, like, the things that you need to survive in order, but still loving on the things that you're passionate about, and having the dopamine that you get from that, or the serotonin that you get from that, through displaying them and having those spaces there available to you. Not to mention, like, for my children, I want to create a sensory, like, friendly room that, like, helps you regulate or supports regulating, and having that, you know, either be in their playroom or in their bedrooms, but even to the layout of the house that we're building currently, like, neurodiversity has been put in play here, like of like what system was going to work well, what makes sense, from having, you know, an actual mudroom, and that's not a normal thing in Australia to have a mudroom, but like having a mudroom slash drop zone intentionally designed into the space, because it doesn't normally come into plans here. Like and then, you know, having ways to store things and having systems like that's really important to me. So I can't wait to share that with you going forwards. I've got some art projects I'm going to be doing. I've got light fixtures that I'm creating. There are so many things I want to try out. Like I want to try out like 3D printing, and I want to try out fashion design and like designing clothes that like bring freaking dopamine to me. Like to me, creativity this year is all about working out what it is that I'm really truly passionate about and I want to take forward. I'm really curious about interior design. I've started studying it. And ever since like designing our house, like that's been something that I've been really deeply like learning about. And this is an opportunity to work out if that's the career for me, like if that's what I really want to do. But maybe it's like to be a content creator and fully like go in all in here and share with you guys. I am homeschooling my kids whilst I do all of this, so and they're always here with us, so they no doubt they're going to be about. But yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. If you want to know about autism, ADHD, any of that stuff, please leave a comment below. Please, leave a comment below. If you're curious about my unmasking process or any of that, I have so much content on my podcast, the Chloe Manifest podcast. And I'm going to leave a link below to that so you can listen to all my ADHD content, all of my stuff about unmasking and discovering who I am, and you know, all of that's there. But if you do have questions about those things and you would like me to make a video on autism diagnosis for women, ADHD, the unmasking process, or anything to do with art design, interior design, systems for ADHD, let me know below. I'm gonna go, my kids need me, and I will talk to you all really, really soon.